Today we're going to talk about Thailand. We're going to talk about the tips, tricks, and the things I wish I knew when traveling to Thailand. We're going to talk about the Thailand pass, getting around in Thailand, where to stay, money exchange, and what to do with your travel documents. So stay tuned. And if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button, as I'm going to do YouTube shorts every day for my almost 30-day boots on the ground trip to Thailand. So if you like what you see and you want to see what's going on a live or fairly live basis, please subscribe, hit that like button, and get your notifications for when I post daily. Hit the intro music. First, we're going to talk about the Thailand pass. As of July 1st, there are no more travel restrictions when entering Thailand. If you're vaccinated, as you go through customs, you just need to show them your vaccine card. Once you go through customs, you're clear to travel through the entire country. If you're unvaccinated, you need to show them a negative PCR test that you have taken within 72 hours. This is common with many different countries that you go to. The difference is that Thailand had a lot of travel restrictions, and as time has gone on, they have reduced them. So as of July 1st, there is no more travel restrictions. There is no more Thailand pass. And once you go through, you're clear to go. So this is the part where hopefully you learn from some of the mistakes that I've made when visiting Thailand. Getting around. So the easiest and best way to get around most likely is going to be by taxi. I don't see the need for renting a car when you go to Thailand. I've never rented a car. I've taken mostly taxi. So the thing about taking taxis, you can take them right from the airport wherever you're going. The concern that I have about taking taxis, especially at late night and not necessarily from the airport, from like where you're staying, the hotels and condo areas. Sometimes the taxi drivers do not like to turn their meters on. This is an important thing because they're going to overcharge you. They're going to give you a flat rate, which they would be making money and you would be losing money. So if you get into a cab or a taxi and they refuse to turn the meter on, simply just get out of the taxi. Let them know that that's not the taxi for you. Eventually you will find a taxi person that will take you with the meter on. This is an important thing because it's your vacation. You don't want to feel scammed. They don't want things to be ruined. So just choose the right taxi and make sure when you choose the right taxi, they put their meter on. The second thing is avoid tuk-tuks at all costs. Now, I know you're on vacation, maybe your first time in Thailand, and you're like, well, I really want to take a tuk-tuk or tuk-tuk, however it's pronounced. You can. I'm not saying don't take one. So if you're going to take one, make sure you negotiate the price ahead of the ride. Definitely do not take a tuk-tuk if you're out drinking at night and you just get in it and like tell them where you want to go. That is the easiest and biggest way to get ripped off and scammed. So similar situation that I had when I was in Thailand, was out late night drinking, went in the tuk-tuk, told him where we were going, got to my destination, and he wanted to charge me the same price that the taxi charged from the airport, which is probably 10 times more than what the tuk-tuk ride had cost. So we were able to resolve it. When you're in Thailand, don't get into arguments with tuk-tuk drivers. Don't get into arguments with anybody if you can avoid it. But we were able to, without big argument, negotiate a price that was a lot less than what he was asking when we first got out of the tuk-tuk. The third way to get around is using apps. So I'm from the United States. We use Uber. We use Lyft. Thailand has their own apps. They have two apps I would suggest that you download. One is Grab. The other one is Bolt. You can use these. They're just like Uber. They're just like Lyft. You put where you need to be picked up. You put where you need to be dropped off. They're going to give you a price in Thai baht, and you pay that price when you're done. Just don't be like me. The first time I got in and out, I got in, I didn't realize because my card is linked to my account here. I got out and started walking away. The Grab driver was like, hey, yo, you forgot to pay your cab, you forgot to pay your fare, or the equivalent, the Thai equivalent to that. So I just simply turned around and paid him what I owed, not realizing that my card wasn't linked to my account. So that kind of goes into a point that I'm gonna make later, but always carry small bills with you. It's really important when you get to certain places, not everybody's gonna have change, or they're gonna pretend they don't have change. So try to be as close to what the Bolt or Grab app is telling you that the fee is gonna be, so that you can simply pay your driver when you have arrived at your destination. Two other pieces of advice that I have for you is, if you decide to rent a motorbike or a scooter when you're out in Thailand, make sure that you wear a helmet. One of the biggest, I don't want to call it a scam, but one of the biggest ways to get stopped and either ticketed or arrested is not wearing your helmet. They're going to stop you. They're going to fine you. Sometimes the fine can be paid right there. But to avoid all of that craziness, just get a helmet. Buy a helmet. They're cheap enough. You get there, you're going to get a scooter, get a helmet. That's just as simple as that. You don't want to be stopped by the police constantly and harassed and then ask for your documents. If you don't have your passport on you, that could be another potential problem. So if you're going to rent a motorbike or scooter, make sure that you buy a helmet or rent a helmet as well. The last piece of advice I have for you regarding transportation is, if you decide to take a taxi or a tuk-tuk, do not accept any unsolicited recommendations. Sometimes these guys on the tuk-tuks, especially if you're a single guy traveling, sometimes these guys in these tuk-tuks are like, well, let me take you to a karaoke bar, or I know a really nice bar I can take you to. The majority of the times, they're gonna be scams. You're gonna get in there, they're gonna overcharge you, they're gonna hold you for ransom in some stories that I've heard. Then you go into a karaoke bar, and you're like, well, they're like, would you like some lady company? And you go and you're like, sure. Then they start charging you for the company. Then they start charging you for the whatever that person is drinking or eating. And then they overcharge you. So my best advice to you is, if you want to do those things, go to a karaoke bar or a bar, you plan those things on your own. If it's unsolicited, then you may run into some trouble with those bars and places. So my advice to you is, don't accept unsolicited trips made by the tuk-tuk or the cab driver. So let's talk about exchanging currency. My suggestion to you is to take the amount of your own currency that you're comfortable having in your pocket and in your room with you. Exchange it at the airport. The benefit of this is you don't have to pay ATM fees, right? So the big thing about taking money out of the ATM is they charge a really large surcharge. It can be somewhere up to $8 US. So if you exchange at the airport, you're not going to be paying the $8 US. Plus, sometimes the ATM limits the amount of money that you can take out in one transaction. So you may have to swipe your card 2 or 3 times if you want to take out a lot of money. You can avoid this problem by bringing your currency with you, exchanging it, making sure you get small bills. That's an important thing too. So you want to have small bills. You want to be able to pay taxi drivers, or if you're a tipper, if you want to tip somebody where you're eating. Sometimes you'll run into, if you decide to take a taxi, if you decide to take a tuk-tuk, they're going to tell you, I don't have change for that large bill. They may not, but you want to make sure that you have small bills to avoid some of those interactions, right? So take the amount of money in your local currency that you're comfortable carrying, bring it with you, put it in your lockbox in your hotel. I've never had a problem once my things are in the hotel or the condo, locking it up and just taking it out as much as I need at a time. Eventually, I know on my trip that's coming up, I'm gonna need to hit the ATM because I'm only want to carry a certain amount of money with me. But this is a good way to kind of save on those ATM fees. exchange your money. There are several places in the airport, no matter which airport you land, is you can change your local currency for Thai baht. So let's talk about where you're going to stay in Thailand. Usually I like to pick destinations that are near to the attractions that I want to go to. However, that's not always necessary. Like I said earlier, taxis are cheap. There's cheap ways to get around. So even if you want to stay a little further away to save yourself a little bit of money, you go ahead and you do that, because you're going to probably, the money you're saving, you're going to spend less in taxis to get around, or renting a scooter to get around, than you are paying for the hotel. I also wanted to talk about hotels versus Airbnb. Personally, I'm a person that likes to stay in Airbnbs. On my next trip, I'm staying in Pattaya, so I'm almost going to be gone for a month. I rented a condo in Pattaya for about $230 a month. And when I get to my daily vlogs, I'll be able to show you the place that I'm staying. It is an extremely inexpensive way to stay. The trick with the Airbnb is, if you're going to be staying for a long time, you put in for the monthly rate. A monthly rate can be cheaper than a 2 to 3 week stay at a place. So there's filters on the apps like Airbnb where you can obviously choose your location, but using the monthly fee, you can also choose that option. And even if we're staying for 2.5 weeks, it still may be cheaper than booking it individually, or a week here, a week there, for a place to stay. So I would do my research. You can even find the same hotel that may cost $30 on booking.com, may cost you $10 on Airbnb. So even if you have a destination in mind, I would do some compare and contrast between the app that you use for booking hotels and the app that you use for Airbnb. The last thing I want to cover is travel documents. So technically, you're supposed to walk around with your passport. I'm not comfortable with that. So what I do instead is I take a picture of my passport and all my other travel documents, and I save it in a file on my phone. Now, is this the best way to do it? I'm not 100% sure, but I've never had a problem. If I've ever been stopped, I would either show them the picture, or the second option is I color photocopy pictures of my passport and pictures of my travel documents, so that if I ever get stopped, I can show a police officer or whoever's asking for those documents that I have those documents. I'm not comfortable with just walking around with my passport all the time. So this is just another way for you to avoid walking around with your passport, but still, if there was an issue or a problem, being able to show proof of who you are and your country of residence. So 1, take a picture, store it in a secure file in your phone. 2, make photocopies, carry those with you just in case there's a problem. It's also a good thing too, if you ever lose your passport while on vacation, you have a photocopy you could bring to the embassy to replace it. So those are just some tips, tricks, and things I wish I knew about traveling to Thailand. Now, if you like what you see, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. I'm going to be doing YouTube shorts every day from my almost 30-day boots on the ground vacation holiday in Thailand. I'll be stopping in places like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Pai, Koh Samui, Pattaya, and Bangkok. If you want to see what it's like, you want to see the people, how many people are at the club, how full are the exhibits that I'm going to go see, you want to see if it's worth it for you, I'm going to have a daily update, and I'll let you know about what's going on in Thailand. So hit that subscribe button. Also, if you don't watch YouTube shorts, follow me on TikTok. Do it with the big guy on TikTok. I can say that again. Do it with the big guy on TikTok. Well, I'll be uploading the same videos, daily videos, vlogs, so that you can see what's going on in Thailand and what it looks like right now. I thank you for tuning in, and look out for my YouTube videos on Chiang Mai, Rai, Pai, Koh Samui, Bangkok, and Pattaya, which I'll be uploading soon.